Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lists, a little series I'm doing to cover a bunch of broad subjects that interest me. For today's topic, we're going to be talking about being alone, and why I always think it's not the worst thing that can actually happen. Being alone is something that has been quite prevalent through my life because I have at least always found a lot of benefits from it. I've made some other videos about, being alone and my journey to maybe going and talking with people more and a bunch of that kind of stuff, but I still find it's very important for anybody to properly learn how to be alone and be happy with themselves. There's, I would say, a common saying that you might have heard is, you're gonna be with you forever, so you have to learn how to be with yourself to be happy. If you're never able to sit down with yourself and be happy, how are you supposed to live if you always need something else, like maybe someone there for you or something to keep you happy? You have to learn of some ways to just be able to be just only with yourself and learn to be happy with that. We're always going to live at least a very long life, and sometimes it might end short, sometimes it might last longer than you expected. There's so many different turns and twists that just go into life. But the one thing is you're never going to be able to get rid of yourself while you're living. And the best part about that is you have to learn what you can do by yourself to make you happy. I know there has been plenty of times where I'm alone, and it's just such a peaceful way to properly decompress and not have to worry about anything in any sort of way of pressure. If you're talking with someone, you might have to make sure you're saying the right things and making sure everything's going well. And maybe if you're doing something, you might have to be, making sure you're doing that thing right. But if you're just truly alone, let's say you're out camping in the middle of nowhere, you're sitting down on a chair just giving a quick break, there's no pressure to do anything. And that right there is what I find so important about being happy and being alone. Is just giving your brain some time to wander. I know for a lot of us, we're always thinking. I don't know what the statistic is, but the amount of decisions an adult has to make, I think it was close to around 800,000 times in a day is you have to make a decision, no matter how small or big. But your brain is doing so much work that once you wind down and are just truly alone, letting your mind wander, I have found, at least for me, gives me something just truly unique in a way where I'm able to think through things better and find peace in them. Let's say something really happy happens, I'm able to just sit by myself and really honed in on it and just really enjoy the feeling of happiness while that thing is happy. Because something good might happen and you might react pretty good, but that happiness might slowly fade. But I find an important factor is when you're alone to just really bathe in the emotions you're feeling. This can also go for, when you're feeling sad, is when you're just alone. Not to make it a entire 13-hour crying session, but just a way where you're able to sit alone and just process. I feel at least the most important part of being alone is the reason why it's so important is because it's for how you're able to process your life. There is always so much going on in life, and you need a break, otherwise you're just going to completely not be able to understand everything going around you, and you're just going to kind of fall into a hole of despair of having no idea how to escape. At least in recent times, I feel like that idea of being alone has been criticized now, where if you're not going out and trying to find that new friend or new relationship and you're just actually alone, that's not a good thing, when I don't really know when that became the case. Now granted, it is really, really important for us to go out and talk with people. We're social creatures. But I would say the combat I have for that is you are yourself, and you are the only one who is ever going to truly understand yourself. No matter what happens, no matter if you lose people in your life, you disconnect from people, you start maybe not appreciating some people you talked with because you thought they didn't understand you, you have to realize that you will always understand yourself because you are the mind in your brain. And that's the important part to remember, that if you need help, the only way to truly get that help is when you're able to sit down with yourself and identify what the issue is. I always feel like a fun perspective to look at is when you are passing by any human, they are living the exact life you're having they're looking through their eyes. They're thinking some random thoughts in the back of their head. They might be feeling happy, they might be feeling sad, they might be feeling stressed. But it's that same common idea where they are living life as you are. Maybe they have certain things different, like you could walk past someone, they might be blind, but that doesn't change what is happening on the inside and specifically in your mind. Understanding how your mind works, especially with emotions, is where I would say that skill of being alone comes in the most handy. No matter how much you feel you're maybe different from people and how much you feel like you have to close yourself off, that's the type of alone that I feel like people think of when thinking of alone is you're an outsider and you can't go out with people. But that's never going to be the case. I've seen a lot of great videos about solo camping. Random idea that I'm throwing out there, but it's just that idea of going out and doing a goal of, alright, I'm gonna hike 7 miles today to get this really cool campsite, make my tent, and then I'm gonna have some dinner and look out at the stars and stargaze. That right there sounds like a great plan, and I feel like what a lot of people think is, oh, you should go do that with some people, find some friends, so then you can do it all together and have a good experience. But what I find more important is, why not have a little experience for just you, to be able to connect with yourself? I'm not necessarily saying that you have two minds inside your own, but I always like to think it of having little conversations with yourself as if your emotions and yourself were almost two different people, not forgetting that idea that you are all one, but making it more easy if it works for you, because I feel like at least for me it works of just being like, well, how are you doing in my mind? And then answering that question in the true feeling I am and not having a bunch of barriers for it. I feel it's that most important part of being alone is finding what you find comfortable in being alone and not being scared to say that you are alone at the moment. If you're not doing anything and someone maybe texts you, hey, are you free to talk? If you want to talk to them, talk with them. Go do it and live your life. But if you just need some time for yourself, turn off that phone. Forget about the work emails. Forget about the doom scrolling. Forget about everything and just sit with yourself. That is the type of alone I am trying to talk about here today, because I feel like that is the most important, that is always going to be the most beneficial to you, to how you're able to understand you and how you want to continue throughout your life. I feel the best way to live your life is to have the proper balance of going out and experience things with others and going out by yourself and experiencing it for yourself. It's not a selfish thing to want to do stuff by yourself and maybe only have you as the only one experience it. I would say in that regard, it shows that you just want to know yourself better and figure out what you can do to make yourself have a good life. At the end of the day, all we're trying to do is just have a good life, and I believe if you're able to balance those two topics of being alone and talking with people, you're able to get something that makes you truly unique, and you're able to live a happy life that lasts long. Anyways, that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.